Hello, I am Mason Lambert, and I'm going to talk here about problem recognition in marketing. So, it's a very simple, somewhat simple, but also can be a very complicated process in marketing that they do in ads usually, when it starts out in an ad where you talk about a certain product that everyone kind of wants. It's a very general product most people have or could need possibly, like a car or a new cell phone or something like that. And basically say I have a cell phone that's not the most, I guess, up to date, like this one right here, a Samsung, very simple phone. And on TV they always are advertising about iPhones and the Samsung Galaxies, all the awesome new smartphones. And so they're advertising, I'm like, oh, I would love to have a phone like that. And that's when problem recognition starts, is when you don't really have a need for a new phone or a new item of any sort, a new car or something, but they bring that to attention through a commercial, through the latest item. The next step after that is information search. Your interest is peaked at this point, and so going on now, you come up with, curiosity. You have an interest. You really want to get a new item, so you go online and you search for, research for a certain item. And some things that happen during information search is when you do search marketing. That's another technique that's happens on the internet when you're going for an information search, especially when you're going on the internet. And for instance, when you're doing searching on the internet, the technique for search marketing is when you type in a keyword like cell phone or Samsung Galaxy, it'll direct you to the certain stuff, to the same thing, the direct things you want, because you don't want to read pages and pages of certain things about that phone. You just want to learn the things that really pique your curiosity and that really get you excited about that item. And so then when they do that, they go on to other things where they have ads that pop up and stuff of different items. So it's kind of like a whole another ploy, and it gets you tied in and drawn into where you really want to buy that item, but then you see those also cool items you want to get, and so you try to buy those ones. So then the next step is the evaluation of alternatives. Going back to the phone example, you really have a desire to have a Samsung Galaxy phone, but there are the alternatives of the HTC phone smartphones or the Android smartphones, or even the most prized iPhone. And so you weigh the opportunities, what those options are, what you could have, but in the end you probably would go for what you decided in the beginning, the Samsung Galaxy. So that leads to the next step of the product choice. You choose that product, you go and buy it, which leads on to the next step of post-purchase evaluation. This could be either way. You could either have a very positive outcome or a very negative outcome for buying this phone. You could buy the phone and be like, oh man, I can't believe I haven't lived without this phone forever. I mean, I don't know how I've done this without having an awesome smartphone like this, when I could have had, I've had this junk for 4 years. I mean, why would I do that? Or you could have the negative effect where you bought the phone and you realize, man, I really don't need this. Like, why do I have this? It's just taking up all my time and stuff. So why do I have it when I could just go back to my dumb phone, play an old, cell phone that doesn't distract me, and it has the basics of texting and calling. So those are the steps of problem recognition. Some really good examples that are very popular in the ad marketing world for problem recognition is like life insurance, mouthwash, a new automobile, or even health club membership. Those are some of the biggest things that are talked about in topics and purchases in America today. Life insurance, for example, it's something. I mean, that's something you can see on an ad. Like, for example, for me, there was a Colonial Penn commercial. This is a life insurance company you can purchase, and it's out there, and people can buy it. And they start out the commercial as like these two ladies who are, up there in age, either middle aged or elderly, and they're talking back and forth how someone they knew recently had died. And it was like a husband of one of their good friends died, and so it was very sad to hear that story. But then they were like, but it was good. She had Colonial Penn, so they piques people's interest because they're not sure what it is, but it's actually life insurance, and they paid just pennies a day for life insurance to go into something. Like they go into a fund where they could pay for life insurance, and then help them out in the end because it wasn't expensive to have for funerals. So somebody can watch that commercial and be like, Colonial Penn, okay. Though they don't have life insurance they've never thought about before. They watch the commercial like, oh, I've never thought about that before. I totally need life insurance. I don't know if I have enough savings down there on the road to pay for my loved one's funeral. And funerals are expensive. What am I going to do? So then they go through that process. They weigh the options. Their curiosity is piqued. They search more information. They search about Colonial Penn and other things. They see other items they might want to buy, but that's not really as important. And they weigh their options, and they evaluate the options, and they decide Colonial Penn's the best choice for them. So they go out and buy life insurance. In the end, they might have enough savings, so they're like, well, I really didn't need this Colonial Penn. It was a waste of money. Or they could go into retirement and in the end not have enough money, and like, oh, I'm so glad I purchased Colonial Penn life insurance. That really saved my neck when my dearest loved one died. Because serious accidents happen all the time. That's something that gets peaked when you're discussing life insurance. The thing is, you don't know when a loved one's gonna die next, and it's very sad, but it's very truthful, and so that's a very big reality. Mouthwash is a product like Listerine. I see that commercials all the time, where someone just washes their mouth out with, for bad breath and stuff. So people might have, and they'll see that commercial and it'll kill bacteria in your mouth and it'll freshen your breath, give a smile, and maybe even have a guy and a woman in there, and the woman or guy just wash their mouth out with soap, and they're like, oh, they won't be more irresistible to kiss just because they have fresher breath. And so someone will see that commercial and never thought about that before, but like, oh man, they might have bad breath, chronic bad breath, and they'll be like, oh, I really wish I had Listerine. Or it's like, oh man, if I had Listerine, I could, get any girl I want, or any guy I want. So they'll go out, weigh the options of Listerine and all the other products, see what would be the most benefit from it, and so they go out and see if that would work. So then they evaluate the options, and then they would make the purchase. Given it could be either good or bad, positive outlook. It really freshens their breath up, changes their life around. They do well in an interview and get a job, do it, or even go well on a nice first date. You never know. A new automobile. That's something everyone usually thinks about. They always, most people, they love cars. You might have a really old one. You might need a new one, but you don't think about it because you're just like, you've had this for so long, you don't care. But there's commercials of these all really nice luxury cars or hot rods. There's really awesome speeding by, rolling up a luxury with a nice lady on your side. And it's like, man, if I had a really nice car, that would be phenomenal. I would have a better life due to it, and I wouldn't have this old junker. So people would go information search, look for the best option of the car they would like. They would weigh the options, pick that car, and then good or bad, the situation. It could be, I don't really need this car, it's just too expensive, and the insurance is way too high. Or on the other hand, man, this car changed my life. I have so much, I don't have so much problems with my car breaking down, or even oh man, I have so much more friends due to it, which is not the best moral, but in the end, it gets people to buy things. And then health club membership. In America, we're a very obese nation, and so that's something that's advertised all the time is good health, good-looking people, attractive people. You should be healthy and look, be good in your life, and you'll be happier to do that. And some people are just like, man, I'm just so overweight, or man, oh, I was so athletic back in college, or I was the fastest guy out on the football field. People couldn't stop me. I wish I was back to that shape. And they see that commercial. It really piques their interest. Maybe they didn't really notice their problem, but that problem arises because they're like, oh, I miss the good old days. I want to be there. I should get a membership at that gym or a different gym. So they'll get the information about that gym or other gyms, the way those options, and then they'll make a decision. Given they might not actually use the membership, and they just stay out of shape. Or they realize, man, I don't need this membership. I could just go jogging every day and I'll lose weight. Or they'll be like, man, this is really positive. This is really positive because I'm getting out there and I'm being in shape. I'm in shape. This is good for me. I'm losing weight. So that's positives. So that is problem recognition. It is an ad that's used in marketing all the time and gets people wondering, man, I didn't know, they have wants and needs they don't think they would have. So thank you for your time.